The galaxy had rules older than most stars. Among them, one rule stood above all others: never turn against humans. It was a law not written on paper, not enforced by armies, but understood by every intelligent species in every system. It had saved countless civilizations from unnecessary wars, and it had kept peace in the galaxy for centuries. But rules, no matter how old, could be broken. On the mining world of Kreska IV, Ambassador Joran Hale walked along the colony's central hub. The planet was rocky and harsh, with jagged mountains cutting the pale sky. Humans had built sturdy colonies here decades ago, and now they were scattered across the planet in settlements connected by transport lines and tunnels. Joran paused and watched a group of human children playing near a small fountain. They laughed, their voices echoing off the stone buildings. Even in a galaxy filled with advanced technology and strange creatures, there was something about humans that no machine or alien could imitate. Their vitality, their courage, and their stubborn hope. "Ambassador Hale," a voice called. It was Lyra Tan, Joran's assistant, a skilled negotiator and pilot. She held a small data tablet in her hands, her expression tense. "What is it?" Joran asked. Lyra looked down at the tablet, then back at him. "It's the Valari fleet. They've crossed the outer system borders, and they're armed with new weapons. Ones our intelligence never predicted." Joran's heart sank. The Valari were a proud, technologically advanced species. They had always respected the old rules of the galaxy. They had never attacked humans, not openly, not directly. This change was unprecedented. "How many ships?" Joran asked, his voice steady despite the rising tension. 37 warships, fully armed, and they're approaching the colony faster than expected." Joran took a deep breath. "Alert the colony defenses. Begin evacuation protocols. And Lyra, prepare a message for the Galactic Council. We need allies now." The Valari strike was swift. Within hours, the sky above Kreska IV was filled with sleek, dark warships. Their weapons glowed with a strange blue energy, cutting through the planet's thin atmosphere. The humans fought back, but the Valari weapons ignored shields and defenses. Buildings crumbled and mining stations collapsed. Fires spread across the rocky terrain. Amid the chaos, Joran led a group of survivors through the tunnels beneath the colony. The humans moved quickly, following his calm orders. Panic was everywhere, but Joran's presence gave them hope. "This way," he shouted as they reached a junction. "The transports are ready. Get everyone to the landing pads." They reached the main transport hub, where ships were already loading survivors. Children cried, parents shouted, and engineers worked frantically to keep the ships fueled. Joran looked at the destruction above. Kreska IV had been a prosperous colony. Now it was burning. A sudden explosion shook the ground. Joran stumbled but regained his footing. He saw a Valari fighter swooping down, firing at the transports. One of the smaller ships erupted in flames, sending debris into the air. "Lyra, cover the rear!" he yelled. She nodded and sprinted toward the control panel, activating defense turrets. They fired back at the fighter, forcing it to veer away. As the last of the civilians boarded the transports, Joran realized something terrifying. This was not a simple attack. The Valari had broken the oldest rule. They had chosen to turn against humans. The transports lifted off, escaping the burning colony. Joran stayed behind for a moment, watching Kreska IV disappear beneath a haze of smoke and fire. He clenched his fists. "They don't understand humans," he muttered. "They never will." The escape. The human fleet was small but nimble. They moved through the asteroid fields near Kreska IV, avoiding Valari patrols. On board the command ship, Joran and Lyra assessed the situation. "Casualties?" Joran asked. Lyra swallowed hard. "Too many, but most of the survivors are safe, for now." Joran nodded. "Good. Now we need to find out why the Valari did this." Every species in the galaxy knows the rule. Why break it now? Lyra hesitated. There's something else. Intelligence intercepted a Valari communication. They mentioned the humans' reckoning. Joran's brow furrowed. The... what? The humans' reckoning, Lyra repeated. It sounded like a plan specifically targeting humans across the galaxy. They may have been planning this for years. Joran's stomach tightened. If the Valari had been preparing this for years, other human colonies could already be in danger. And if other species in the galaxy didn't intervene, humanity could face its first true extinction-level threat. He clenched his jaw. Then we make them regret it. We survive, we fight, and we show the galaxy exactly why humans should never be underestimated. Galactic shockwaves. News of the attack spread quickly. Across the galaxy, species received messages from Kreska 4 survivors. Shock and disbelief rippled through alien civilizations. The rule had been clear for centuries. No one could understand why the Valari had broken it. Some factions demanded immediate retaliation against humans, thinking they were weak and vulnerable. Others offered support, realizing that attacking humans was not just dangerous, it was dangerous for the balance of the galaxy. Joran, aboard his small fleet, addressed the Galactic Council via hologram. His voice was calm, yet carried an authority that commanded attention. "Citizens of the galaxy," he said, "the Valari have broken the oldest rule. They have attacked humans without reason, but understand this. We will survive. We will not only survive, we will rise. And those who believe humans can be crushed easily, they will learn a lesson they will never forget." Across the council chambers, whispers filled the air. Some members looked fearful, others curious. But all knew one thing. Humans were different, and history had proven that difference was dangerous to anyone who underestimated it. Human ingenuity. While the galaxy debated, humans were not idle. Engineers and pilots worked tirelessly, repairing damaged ships and building new defenses. The young engineer Terran Vos had discovered an unusual energy resonance in Valari weapons. Using it, he proposed a counter-technology that could neutralize their advanced weapons. Joran watched Terran explain his plan. "It's risky," Terran admitted. "But if it works, it could level the playing field." Joran smiled faintly. "Humans thrive on risk, Terran. Let's see what we can do." They tested the new technology on a small scale. Lasers and turrets lit up the hangar, firing at simulated Valari weapons. To everyone's surprise, the resonance technology worked. Valari weapons lost power when in range of human energy fields. It was a small victory, but in the shadow of disaster, it felt monumental. Joran clapped Terran on the shoulder. "See, humans always find a way." The first counterstrike weeks passed, and the human fleet grew stronger. Joran led a small task force to intercept Valari supply ships near the outer rim. It was their first strike, not of revenge, but of strategy. The humans used speed, clever maneuvers, and the new energy resonance technology to disable Valari ships without unnecessary destruction. They captured resources and gathered intelligence. The Valari were shocked. How could a species they considered weak fight with such skill? After the battle, Joran addressed his crew. "We are humans. We adapt, we survive, and we protect our own. The Valari think breaking the rule will destroy us. They are wrong. This is only the beginning." Part 1. Closing night fell over the human fleet as they drifted among the stars. Fires from Kreska 4 were still visible, a reminder of what they had lost. But among the humans, there was determination. There was hope. Joran gazed at the stars, thinking of every colony, every human who had survived. The Valari had violated the oldest rule in the galaxy, but humans had survived worse. and they would continue to survive because resilience and courage ran in their blood. Somewhere deep in the Volari command centers, alarm bells rang. The humans were not just surviving, they were planning their response, and the galaxy would soon witness what it truly meant to underestimate humanity. Joran whispered to himself, a vow as much as a prediction. They will learn. They will all learn. Humans are never weak, never, and we are never finished. The human fleet drifted silently among the stars. Fires from Kreska 4 had faded into the distance, but the memory of destruction burned in every survivor's mind. There was no time for grief. The Volari had shown the galaxy that they could break the oldest rule. That meant humans had to act quickly, or others might follow their example. On the command bridge of the flagship Endurance, Ambassador Joran Hale studied the star charts. Every system, every colony was a potential target. The Volari's attack had been deliberate, precise, and terrifyingly effective. Humans were not helpless, but they were not yet ready for a full-scale war either. "Ambassador," Lyra Tan said, stepping beside him, "scanners show Volari patrols along the outer rim. They're hunting for survivors. They must be consolidating their forces." Joran nodded. "Then we have two choices. Hide or take the fight to them. Hiding will only delay the inevitable. Humans don't run when threatened. We adapt and resist." Lyra frowned. "It's dangerous. We're small compared to the Volari fleet." "Danger is part of survival," Joran said, "and humans are good at survival." The hidden stronghold. Weeks later, the human fleet found refuge on Orin III, a remote moon in an uncharted system. Its surface was rocky, covered with jagged cliffs and deep canyons, perfect for concealment. Human engineers quickly transformed caves into living quarters, repair bays, and training areas. The survivors worked tirelessly, repairing ships and preparing for counterattacks. In one of the caves, Taran Voss, the young engineer, worked with a team of scientists to improve the energy resonance technology he had discovered. Every time the Volari tried a new weapon, Taran and his team found a way to neutralize it. "This is more than defense," Taran said to Joran. "We can use this to disable their ships. We can strike back." Joran smiled. "Exactly. Humans turn weakness into strength. That is what makes us dangerous." Outside, children ran along the rocky terrain, learning to navigate the cliffs and tunnels. Even in exile, humans found ways to keep life alive. It was small, quiet defiance against the Volari. Training for battle. The human survivors knew that they were vastly outnumbered, but they also knew that brains could overcome brawn. Joran organized rigorous training for pilots, soldiers, and civilians. They studied Volari tactics, practiced ambushes, and tested the energy resonance devices in simulations. Lyra worked with the pilots, teaching them evasive maneuvers and ways to use terrain to their advantage. "The Volari rely on speed and firepower," she told them. "Humans rely on thinking, planning, and teamwork. If we work together, no fleet in the galaxy can easily stop us." Taran introduced small drones equipped with resonance emitters. These drones could disable Volari weapons temporarily, creating openings for human strikes. Engineers built them quickly, using scrap parts from destroyed colonies. Joran watched as humans, ordinary people once scattered across the galaxy, transformed into a coordinated, disciplined force. He felt pride, not arrogance, but the quiet certainty that humans were rising. The first recon mission. The first recon mission into Volari-controlled space was dangerous. Joran led a team aboard a small, fast ship called the Ranger, accompanied by Lyra and a squad of trained pilots. Their goal was to observe Volari activity and gather intelligence for future strikes. As they neared the edge of Volari territory, the void of space felt tense and silent. Suddenly, sensors blared. A Volari patrol detected them. "Evasive maneuvers!" Joran shouted. The ship swerved through asteroid fields using debris as cover. Lasers streaked past, narrowly missing the hull. Lyra activated the resonance devices. One by one, Valari weapons began to fail, giving the humans just enough time to escape. "We did it!" shouted one pilot, exhilarated. Joran remained calm. "This is just the beginning. We learn, we adapt, and then we strike." They returned to Orym III with new intelligence, maps of Valari patrol routes, weaknesses in supply lines, and hints of a larger plan called the Humans' Reckoning. Building alliances. Humans knew they could not fight alone. Joran sent messages to other species, emphasizing that the Valari had violated the oldest rule. Some responded with skepticism, hesitant to join a conflict against one of the galaxy's most advanced powers. Others, however, offered support: small fleets, supplies, and intelligence. Among them was the Sarathi, a feline-like species known for their agility and sharp instincts. They had admired humans for their courage in past skirmishes and agreed to share pilots and warriors. "When humans fight," their leader said, "we know they fight for survival and for honor. That is worth standing beside." The human fleet grew not only in numbers but in morale. Humans inspired respect and trust, even in species that had never directly encountered them. Preparing the counterattack. With intelligence in hand, Joran and his team devised the first human counterattack. They would target Valari supply ships and disrupt communications, buying time for colonies still under threat. The plan required speed, precision, and careful coordination. "Every move counts," Joran said to his commanders. "We don't just fight for ourselves. We fight for every human who has survived and every colony that still exists." Terran's energy resonance technology was central to the plan. Small drones were deployed ahead of the fleet to disable Valari weapons before the human ships arrived. Pilots would then strike with precision, capturing resources and sending a warning message to the Valari. Humans were not weak. The first strike. The operation began in the cold darkness of space near a Valari supply corridor. Humans, though outnumbered, moved with discipline. Drones were launched, disabling weapon systems on several Valari ships. Lasers that once could have destroyed entire human vessels failed, flickering uselessly. "Now!" Joran commanded. Human ships surged forward using speed and tactics to capture Valari supply ships. Minimal destruction occurred. Humans preferred to disable and take, rather than kill unnecessarily. Valari commanders were stunned. How could humans whom they considered weak have anticipated and neutralized their weapons? Joran's voice echoed over the comms. "This is only the beginning. Humans fight not just with weapons, but with minds, hearts, and determination. Remember this, Valari. Underestimating humans is your greatest mistake." The response of the galaxy news of the human counterstrike spread quickly. Across star systems, species whispered in amazement. Humans, once victims of an unexpected attack, had turned the tables with cunning, intelligence, and teamwork. Some species joined the humans, offering small fleets or technological assistance. Others reconsidered their stance, realizing that the Valari might target anyone who opposed them. Joran's leadership and humanity's resilience had become a beacon of hope. Even among Valari ranks, unease grew. Their plans, carefully hidden for years, were faltering against the ingenuity of humans. Commanders whispered about the unpredictable species, noting that their weapons could fail, their strategy could fail, but the humans themselves did not fail. Rising morale. Back on Orym III, humans celebrated small victories. Children played among the caves, now protected by drones and shields. Engineers repaired ships with new designs inspired by the Valari technology. Pilots trained relentlessly, learning how to anticipate enemy tactics. Joran walked among them, observing quietly. Every human he saw, from the youngest child to the oldest engineer, was a symbol of resilience. They were learning that survival was not enough. They had to rise, to fight back, and to inspire others to believe in the strength of humanity. Lyra joined him, handing over a tablet filled with new intelligence. "They're preparing a larger fleet," she said. "They will come again." Joran's eyes narrowed. "Let them come. Every attack is a chance to show what humans are capable of. Every battle is a lesson, and the galaxy will remember those lessons." Part 2. Closing night fell over Oryn III. The moons of the planet cast pale light across the rocky cliffs. Fires of human industry glimmered in the caves, signaling life, hope, and defiance. Joran looked at the stars, thinking of every human still at risk, every colony still in danger. The Valari had tried to destroy them, but humans had survived, and survival was only the first step. Humans were building strength, alliances, and a strategy to ensure the galaxy would never again forget one truth. Humans were clever, resilient, and impossible to underestimate. As Joran whispered to himself, a vow of determination formed in the silent night. "We will rise. We will fight. And every being in the galaxy will know that humans do not surrender." The first counterstrike had succeeded, but the war for survival, respect, and the future of humanity was only beginning. The human fleet had grown stronger. Weeks of planning, training, and small victories had taught them one vital truth. Humans could not be underestimated. Every maneuver, every strike, every moment of survival had sharpened their minds and spirits. Now it was time to take the fight to the Valari themselves. On board the flagship Endurance, Ambassador Joran Hale stood at the bridge, staring at the holographic map of Valari space. Blue and red markers dotted the galaxy, showing patrol routes, supply lines, and key military outposts. "We know where they are weakest," Joran said to his commanders. "If we move carefully, we can strike at the heart of their operations and send a message the Valari will never forget." Lyra Tan, standing beside him, frowned. "It's dangerous. Their territory is heavily guarded, and their fleet is larger than ours." "Danger is familiar," Joran replied. "Humans turn danger into opportunity. We adapt, we survive, and we fight." Forging alliances. Humans could not win this war alone. Joran sent emissaries to species who respected courage, intelligence, and honor. Among them were the Sarathi, who had already contributed pilots and warriors, and the Cenari, a crystalline species with sharp minds and strong energy technology. The aliens respected humans, not just for their victories, but for their leadership. Joran's calm determination inspired confidence. Every alliance strengthened the human fleet, bringing new ships, technology, and strategies. One Cenari engineer, Kalara, explained their energy shields. "Your energy resonance technology pairs perfectly with ours," she said. "If we combine forces, Valari weapons will fail more often, giving humans the advantage." Joran nodded. "Then we combine them. Humans are strongest when we think, plan, and act together. That is our advantage in this galaxy." The mission begins. The fleet left Oryn III under the cover of darkness, slipping past Valari patrols using asteroid fields and remote hyperspace routes. The goal, a Valari command station deep within their territory. If humans could disable it, they could disrupt communications and weaken enemy coordination. On board the Ranger, Joran briefed his officers. "This mission will be dangerous, but danger is where humans excel. Each of you knows what is at stake. Move carefully, strike smartly, and trust in each other." The pilots checked weapons and shields. Engineers ran final diagnostics on drones and energy resonance devices. Everyone knew that failure was not an option, but they also knew humans never gave up. The first encounter. As the fleet approached Valari space, sensors detected a patrol squadron. These ships were fast and heavily armed. Joran studied their formation. "They expect speed and force," he said. "We will give them strategy and precision." Lyra activated the resonance drones. Small devices floated ahead, emitting pulses that weakened Valari weapons. The first shots from the patrol squadron fizzled and failed, giving humans the opening they needed. "Now!" Joran shouted. Human ships moved in tight formation, using terrain and debris fields to avoid fire. Lasers streaked past, but the drones kept Valari weapons disabled long enough for the humans to disable several enemy ships. The Valari were shocked. How could a species they considered inferior anticipate their moves and neutralize their weapons? Joran's voice over the comms was calm but commanding. Humans fight not just with machines, but with minds and hearts. Underestimate us, and you will lose. The Valari Command Station. After days of travel and smaller skirmishes, the human fleet reached the outskirts of the Valari Command Station. Orbiting a small, jagged moon, it was heavily defended, with energy shields, turrets, and patrols. Joran studied the station carefully. "We don't have to destroy it. We only need to disable it long enough to take control of communications and gather intelligence. Precision, not brute force." Lyra nodded. "We can use the resonance drones to weaken their defenses, then move in for a surgical strike." The plan was risky. Every human pilot knew that one mistake could mean capture or death. But humans thrived on risk, and they thrived on strategy. The battle begins. The human fleet moved forward in formation. Drones activated first, disabling turrets and weakening energy shields. Valari ships tried to respond, but their weapons failed intermittently. Joran led the Vanguard squadron, moving through gaps in the defenses. Pilots used maneuvers that the Valari had never anticipated. Humans were smaller in number, but their precision, planning, and adaptability gave them the edge. Inside the command station, human engineers worked quickly, hacking systems and sending false signals. Valari alarms blared, but confusion spread. Communication channels were compromised and patrols became disorganized. One human pilot, Rena Voss, executed a daring maneuver, taking control of a docking bay and opening it to the fleet. Supplies and ships could now enter the station safely. "Rena, well done!" Joran shouted. "This is what humans do. We adapt, we overcome, and we take opportunities others cannot see." Allies joined the fight. The Sarathi and Sinari fleets arrived just in time. Their ships supported the human vanguard, striking at key points and reinforcing the attack. The combined forces of humans and allies created chaos in the Valari ranks. Valari commanders struggled to coordinate their forces. The energy resonance technology, paired with Sinari shields, rendered many of their weapons useless. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were a calculated, unstoppable force. From the bridge of the Endurance, Joran observed the battlefield. "Every move counts," he said. "Focus, adapt, and act together. This is how humans turn even overwhelming odds into victory." Capturing the station hours of careful strategy, skirmishes, and maneuvering led to a turning point. Human boarding teams, led by Lyra, entered the command station. They moved quickly, disabling security systems and gathering intelligence. Joran watched as humans worked efficiently and courageously. Even in enemy territory, their teamwork, ingenuity, and courage shone through. By the end of the operation, humans controlled the station's communications and had captured valuable data on Valari plans. The Valari were humiliated. Their carefully prepared humans' reckoning plan had been exposed, delayed, and disrupted, all by a species they had underestimated. Joran activated a broadcast across the station. "Valari leaders, hear this. Humans do not surrender. We adapt, we fight, and we survive. Any who threaten humans will face the consequences. The galaxy will remember this day." The galaxy takes notice. News of the human victory spread quickly. Across the galaxy, species were amazed. Humans had not only survived, but they had struck into the heart of Valari territory and disrupted their operations. Some species joined the human cause, offering fleets, intelligence, and resources. Others reconsidered siding with the Valari, realizing that humans were not weak prey, but a force to be respected and feared. Even among the Valari, whispers of doubt spread. Their greatest mistake had been underestimating humans. Every plan, every strategy, every weapon they had relied on had been countered by the creativity, teamwork, and courage of a single species. Human ingenuity. Shines back aboard the Endurance, Joran walked among his crew. Engineers repaired drones, pilots rested, and soldiers prepared for the next operation. "You see this?" he asked Taran, pointing to the captured Valari systems. "This is what humans do. We adapt, we learn, and we turn disadvantage into advantage. We survive because we think, because we plan, and because we never give up." Taran smiled. "It's incredible. Our technology worked. The resonance devices paired with Sonari shields. It's perfect." Joran nodded. "Humans always find a way." Preparing for the next phase. The victory at the Valari command station was significant, but Joran knew the war was far from over. The Valari would retaliate, and other colonies remained at risk. He called a council of human and allied commanders. "We have struck a blow, but the fight continues. Every colony must be protected, every human life defended, and we must show the galaxy that humans do not surrender, even when the odds are against them." Lyra spoke up. "We've inspired hope. Every species that respects courage is watching. Humans have become a symbol of survival and ingenuity." Joran smiled faintly. "Good. Let them watch. Let them see what humans are capable of. And when the Valari strike again, we will be ready." Part 3. Closing night fell across the stars, and the human fleet floated among the remnants of Valari defenses. Fires burned on distant planets, and signals of disrupted communications spread across the galaxy. Joran looked at the stars, thinking of every human who had survived, every colony still in danger, and every challenge yet to come. Humans had proven they could fight back, even against a superior enemy. They had forged alliances, captured territory, and disrupted plans. The Valari had underestimated them, and that mistake would echo across the galaxy. As Joran whispered to himself, a vow filled the silent bridge. Humans adapt. Humans fight, and humans will rise until the galaxy remembers our name. The war for survival was far from over, but humanity had reached its first true turning point. From the shadows of destruction, humans had risen, not just as survivors, but as a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The human fleet had grown from a small group of survivors into a coordinated force that inspired allies and struck fear into enemies. The victory at the Valari command station had proven one undeniable truth. Humans could survive against impossible odds, and they could turn weakness into strength. Yet, Ambassador Joran Hale knew the fight was not over. The Valari, humiliated and enraged, were gathering a larger fleet. Their numbers and firepower far surpassed humans, but Joran trusted in strategy, teamwork, and human ingenuity. On the bridge of the flagship Endurance, he studied a holographic display of Valari forces. "They think overwhelming force will crush us," he said to Lyra Tan. "They don't understand humans. We adapt, we fight, and we survive." Lyra nodded. "And every ally we gain strengthens that truth. The Sarathi and Sonari fleets are ready to join us in the next strike." Joran smiled faintly. "Then it is time to remind the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated." The gathering storm. The human fleet, now strengthened by allies, moved to protect threatened colonies and disrupt Valari operations. Scouts reported Valari movements near the Outer Rim, where several human settlements were still at risk. Joran divided his forces carefully, Some ships would defend colonies, while others would continue offensive operations, using speed and strategy rather than brute force. In a quiet meeting room aboard the Endurance, Joran addressed his commanders. "The Valari think they can overwhelm us with numbers. They think fear will break us. They are wrong. Humans do not break under fear. Humans plan, adapt, and fight. Every move we make now will protect our people and secure the future of humanity." The commanders nodded, their faces serious but determined. Every one of them had seen the courage of ordinary humans rise in impossible circumstances. Every one of them believed in their leader and in humanity. The bold plan. Joran's plan was bold. Instead of waiting for the Valari to strike, he would take the fight directly to their home territory. The goal was not destruction, but disruption, capturing critical communication hubs, disabling weapons, and forcing the Valari to retreat and reconsider their actions. "This is risky," Lyra said, studying the star charts. "If we fail, human colonies will be exposed, but if we succeed, the Valari will know the true cost of underestimating us." Joran placed a hand on her shoulder. "We don't fail. We adapt. We think. We act. That is how humans survive, and how humans win." Engineers prepared the energy resonance devices, upgraded with Sonari shields. Pilots trained relentlessly, practicing maneuvers that relied on speed, precision, and coordination. Every human in the fleet understood that this mission could decide the future of humanity in the galaxy. Into the heart of Valari space. The fleet entered Valari space cautiously, using asteroid fields and hyperspace routes to avoid detection. Small reconnaissance teams scouted ahead, marking patrol paths and weak points. As they approached a key Valari weapons station, alarms blared across the enemy fleet. The Valari were prepared, but humans were faster, smarter, and unpredictable. Joran gave orders calmly but firmly. "Drones first. Disable their weapons. Pilots, follow through gaps and strike precisely. Engineers, prepare to take control of communications. We move together, or not at all." The battle begins. The battle erupted in the cold void of space. Valari ships opened fire, but the resonance drones neutralized many weapons, giving humans the advantage. Pilots weaved through debris and laser fire, striking at key points with surgical precision. On board the Endurance, Joran coordinated every move. "Focus on strategy, not force. Every attack must count." Human boarding teams, led by Lyra, entered the Valari station. They moved with speed and efficiency, disabling turrets, hacking systems, and taking control of communication hubs. Every action was calculated, minimizing risk while maximizing impact. The Valari were stunned. How could humans, a species they considered inferior, infiltrate their defenses and disrupt critical operations? Joran's voice echoed across Valari comms. "This is the consequence of underestimating humans. We fight with intelligence, courage, and unity, and we will not stop." Allies and human ingenuity Sarathi and Sonari ships joined the human fleet in coordinated strikes. Sarathi fighters used agility and speed to distract Valari patrols, while Sonari energy shields amplified the effectiveness of human drones. Taran Vos, the young engineer, monitored resonance output. "Their weapons are failing faster than expected," he said. "If we continue like this, we can disable their main fleet without destroying their ships." Joran nodded. "Good. That is our goal. Humans win not by destruction, but by skill, planning, and courage. Let them see the power of a united and intelligent species." Turning the tide hours of precise attacks, drone interference, and careful maneuvers forced the Valari fleet to retreat. Human boarding teams secured key facilities, gathering intelligence that revealed the Valari's true plans. They had intended a galaxy-wide campaign against humans, but their own strategy had been their undoing. Joran addressed his fleet. "Every human, every ally has proven what we can do when we work together. Today, we have not only defended our people, we have reshaped the future. The Valari will think twice before threatening humanity again. The galaxy responds. News of the human victories spread rapidly. Across the galaxy, species who had doubted humans now offered support. Some joined the human fleet, while others withdrew from Valari alliances. The Galactic Council convened, astonished by the turn of events. Joran delivered a formal report via hologram. The Valari have violated the oldest rule of the galaxy. Humans have responded with strategy, courage, and resilience. Let this be a reminder to every species. Underestimating humanity is a mistake that cannot be repeated. The Council, after debate, formally reaffirmed the rule: never turn against humans. It was no longer just tradition, it was a law reinforced by undeniable proof of human strength. Victory. Without vengeance. Joran could have ordered the complete destruction of Valari forces, but he chose restraint. Humans fought to survive, to protect, and to inspire, not for vengeance. The galaxy must see humans as a force of strength and honor, Joran said. We fight to protect life, not to destroy it. That is what makes humanity extraordinary. Lyra smiled. And that is why so many species respect us. Terran added, our technology, combined with courage and planning, changed the outcome. It proves humans are always learning, always adapting. Joran nodded. And that is why we survive. Rebuilding and hope. With the Valari threat diminished, humans focused on rebuilding colonies and protecting survivors. Ships repaired, tunnels expanded, and colonies regained stability. Children played freely among the rebuilt settlements, unaware of the war that had threatened their existence. Engineers and scientists improved technology, inspired by both Valari systems and human ingenuity. Joran walked among the people, observing quietly. Every human, from the youngest child to the oldest engineer, had contributed to this victory. Every act of courage, no matter how small, had mattered. Humans are extraordinary, he whispered to himself, not because we are strongest, but because we never stop, never give up, and never surrender. A legacy secured. In the aftermath of the campaign, humans secured lasting recognition across the galaxy. The Galactic Council issued a formal declaration: no species shall ever threaten humanity. Humans are a force of survival, ingenuity, and courage, deserving of respect and protection. Joran knew this was not just a law, it was a promise to future generations. Humanity had proven that even in the darkest times, they could rise, protect, and inspire. Allies celebrated with humans, acknowledging their resilience. The galaxy had witnessed the power of a species that could turn weakness into strength, fear into courage, and despair into hope. Final reflections. On the bridge of the Endurance, Joran gazed at the stars. The war was over, for now, but humanity had emerged stronger, wiser, and united. Lyra joined him. The Valari will remember this day, she said, and so will the rest of the galaxy. Joran nodded. Yes, humanity will be remembered. Not for fear, not for destruction, but for courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive. And the rule, the oldest rule of the galaxy, will never be broken again. He looked out into the void, thinking of every human, every colony, every act of courage. He knew the galaxy would face challenges again, but humanity had proven one unshakable truth. Humans adapt, humans survive, and humans rise. No species would ever forget it. As the fleet moved toward home systems, rebuilt colonies, and new adventures, Joran whispered, almost to himself, "We are humans, and we will endure, always." The galaxy had witnessed the full strength of humanity. The oldest rule had been reaffirmed, not by fear or force, but by courage, unity, and ingenuity. Humanity had not just survived, they had secured a legacy that would shine for generations.